Ever looked at a book, like a chord book, and you just bought a book at the store or you're online, and there are chord names there that you think, gee whiz, I'm not sure I know what that is. Well, that's what this lesson is about. Some fundamentals in building basic chord sounds in open position right now, and of course, it's going to apply to the entire fretboard. And let's start with a D chord. This D chord has a root in the fourth on the fourth string, an A, fifth would be the fifth on the third string, another D, and here's my third up here on top. And that voicing makes this chord a great candidate for the Sus4 and the 2, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. So, as I said, we've got the 3 on top. 1, 2, 3 is our F sharp, and here's the F sharp of the octave. Right, so the 3 is on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Right. Okay. Now, if we raise that up a semitone, we're going to have a fourth. No more third. The third's gone bye-bye, right? Gosh, that just came to me. Yeah, that's cool. So there's the fourth. There's the Sus4. Let's talk about what the Sus4 is. The Sus4 is from a compositional or harmony perspective, it replaces the 3, but it wants to fall back down to the 3. That's why we call it a suspension. It's suspended over the 3. It wants to fall back down to the 3. Why does it want to fall back down to the 3? Because it's loaded with tension. Our ear wants to hear that tension resolve. So we call that a Sus4. Right now I'm just looking at the key of D, specifically the D open, position. There's another cool chord too, and it's called the 2 chord or D2. Now I have seen books that say D suspended 2. I would have to take issue with calling it a suspension because it's not suspended over anything. The 2 actually more strongly wants to return to the 3, so it's below the 3. So if you see it called suspended 2, it means the same thing, but it shouldn't really be called suspension because it's not a suspension. Okay, but that said, this is what a 4 and a 2 sound like. Those sounds were huge when I started listening to records in the some other era, and those sounds, I was like, wow, man! Like I heard those sounds, and I went, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, and that too, if we listen to it by itself, it's got a ton of tension, right? Listen. And there's its resolution, right? Okay, so that's a 2, and the other one was a Sus4. D2, D Sus4. Okay. Now let's do that with another chord. How about A? The A is spelled A down here, 5 here, just like the D chord, right? And then a repeated A here, just like the D chord. And at the top on string 2, if we stop our pick at the second string, we have the third. So here's my third, here's my fourth, and here would be my 2 on the open B. Now, it's only, it seems like it's only been in the last maybe 20 years or something like that where sounds like this almost don't require resolution because there's so much tension in the atmosphere, politically and, like in the world generally. And so we don't even, you'll hear this. Just hanging out. Right. You don't even have to resolve it. It's a pretty hip sound. It's a great sound. But if you want to resolve it, then it just. Okay, let's try the same concept with the G chord. Remember that a lot of this stuff, it will work great with some chords and not as well with other chords, depending on their fingering. But let's try this G chord. And I'm stopping my pick at string 1. So I'm stopping my top string is going to be the B, which is the third of the G chord, right? And it's a 1-finger chord. There's the Sus4. Okay, and now I could go to the 2 here, which is sort of cool. Okay, get the idea. Also, if I can add a 2 right against the chord, just push it in there. And here's a like a G5 with no third in it. And if I just stick a 2 in there. Right? Great. Really great sound. It's sort of that again, that unresolved tension. So you don't necessarily have to do sus4s and the 2s resolving. The sus4 really is begging for a resolution, but the 2 can just sit in there, and it's a very cool sound. Okay, and then how about E? The 4 of the E major chord is on the is on string 3, and it's not quite as bright as that lovely D, right? Right, because we find that that third in the middle on the on string 3, right? And also it's pretty difficult for us to get to the 2 with the E chord, because I don't have, it's not the same voicing as I had with the D and the A and the E, right? So the 2 is Where would I find a 2 on the? I'd find it on here, the F sharp, right? And that's gonna be sort of crazy. Right. So practically speaking, but the Sus4 is great. Yeah, that's sort of the same idea. That it's the same chord, right? It's I'm just borrowing it. Right, you can hear that. Okay, sus sus sus, resolving just down to the 3. So D A E C. This is a cool one, but now we're moving all the way down to string 4. We got the sus here on string 4. There's the sus. All right, and I'm avoiding that top string because it's going to clash with the sus. It's sort of hip, but I know. And here's the 2. It's a little dense down there, but it's still pretty neat, and very useful. I suppose you could mute this one here. I haven't used this a lot, but you could do the sus up here, right? If you really want to be in the key of C and use sus's. Sus, resolution, 2. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so there's 5 open position chords, and the idea is that sus's and 2s are great. They just give you a whole bunch of possibilities for really great chord sounds, nice tense chord sounds that make things more interesting than just banging away on one chord over and over again. It's a great way to embellish your basic open position chord sounds, and if you start to listen to tunes, you'll hear those susses over and over again. If you listen to tunes, especially in the pop genre, you'll hear them all over the place. Yeah. I've got a few in mind right now, but I won't play them for you. All right, thanks, and experiment, dig in a little bit. Try to put a template of a scale below what you're wanting to embellish in terms of colors. The chord you're wanting to embellish, G chord, and there's my scale, so I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 9 or my 2. Right? That's the way to dig in. Don't just experiment without having those scale templates below your chords, or it'll be just crazy difficult to repeat those ideas in other keys as well, because you won't know what you're doing really. You may like find a chord and think, wow, that's really cool. I love the sound of this chord. This is my chord. I'm going to give it a name. You can do that if you like, but you're going to have a heck of a time communicating with other players. And also, you'll have a heck of a time translating that into other keys. And you want to be able to do that, especially if you're a singer or if you're playing for a singer. Okay, good. That's it for today. Like, subscribe, leave us comments. I'm really into this comment thing right now. I need to hear comments because I'm not, I'm looking at a camera lens, right? I like human beings. They're important when you're teaching. You'd like to know that you're teaching a human being, which I've done, for most of my life. And I can see their face, I can see their guitar, I can see their body and their hands and where they're at and what, and who they are, right? And what they want to know. I don't have that opportunity here and it drives me nuts. But that said, leave me a comment, and I really appreciate when you do. Guitar players are nice to talk to, and see you again.